Hi, I'm Johnita Barrett and welcome to my channel, Gluten-free, Dairy-free Cooking and sometimes vegan. And today we're going to be cooking a recipe for pumpkin pie that is gluten-free, dairy-free, and vegan. It's from a recipe book that I really like. I've not tried everything, but I'm hoping to get to it sometime on this channel. It's called Gluten-free Vegan Baking for Every Occasion, and it's by Sarah McLaughlin. And she's got really some very good recipes in here, but there's actually some that I tried that were not my favorite. So to begin with, I'm going to speed up the camera while I get everything prepared, ready to make the crust. Okay, now we have everything prepared and ready to go. So first we have a 1 3/4 cup of almond flour. And we're going to put this in our mixing bowl. We have a 1/4 cup of how do you say that name again? I always get that mixed up. My daughter sometimes will call it tapioca, but it's tapioca. she always would call it the wrong word, and so it always gets me mixed up. But it's tapioca flour, and it's 1/4 cup. 3 tablespoons of coconut sugar. That's another thing about these recipes. They do not have any refined sugar in them, which is a big plus for me. And 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. A 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. And that's all our dry ingredients, and we're just going to whisk those around where they're all nice and combined. Okay. And I started off with a 1/4 cup of coconut oil that I melted in the microwave, and then I added another 1/4 cup of maple syrup. And to that I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla and a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And then we're going to whip this by itself until we can get a creamy look to it. I always do this in a glass measuring cup so that I don't have to dirty up more things by warming up melting the coconut oil in the microwave. You can feel it starting to get a little thicker feel to it. You can see it's got kind of a creamy look to it. I don't know if you can tell on the screen, but it does. Then we're going to combine the two. Crust is usually what my daughter makes when we make these pies. So I'm usually working on the filling and she's working on the crust, but we always get together since we're doing fall cooking and concentrating on Thanksgiving. We always get together, me and my 2 daughters and my daughter-in-law, and cook all day. We cook the day before and the day before. But everybody comes over and cooks together, and it's just really a nice time. Okay, so we're combined here, and we got to kind of get our hands dirty. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out and have it sitting some cling wrap so that when I get it all pulled together, I'll have something to put it on. hands get too messy. It's going to be very wet feeling. You think it's not going to be a dough, but it will. You're going to put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes or so, and it'll harden up. Okay. I'm going to wash my hands off really quickly. Okay, now we have our dough out of the refrigerator, and I have parchment paper here, and I've spread a little bit of almond flour on the surface, and you see it's solid right now, but it will melt quickly, so you kind of have to work quickly with this. I'm going to go ahead and spray my pie plate with coconut oil. There we go. Now, don't laugh, because I have a little bitty tiny rolling pin. I don't know how I ended up with just this little tiny rolling pin, but that's what I have. I'm going to put another piece of parchment paper because it can get sticky. Like I said, it'll get soft quickly. But here's my little bitty rolling pin, but it does the job. I used to have a big one, and I don't know, through moves or something happened to it. I don't know, but I've just used this one for a while now. And I just do little by little. Maybe my kids one day will get me one for a Christmas present. When they see this, they might do it. Like, what are you doing, Mom? So, it just takes a little bit. You want to work it to where it's bigger than your pie pan, so that when you turn it over, you can have make sure it covers all the edges, and it's not too little and doesn't fit. You want it to be about an fourth of an inch, an eighth of an inch thick. So that's the goal. And we're getting there. One thing I like about this crust is it's got flavor. You know, it's got all that cinnamon in it. So it adds to the flavor of whatever you're eating, whatever the pie is. Because I use this crust on a good many pie. So it's almost like a cookie flavor all by itself. So there we go. You can use your hands to push this out if you don't have a rolling pin. I've done that before too. And just push it around with your hand palms until you get it where you want it. All right, let's see. This will be pretty good here. I love desserts. It's one of my favorite things in the world, but I'm actually more of a savory cook, I would say. But I do love them. And my daughter-in-law, her mom was a baker, or is a baker, and so she comes with delicious recipes, and I'll have her over, and we'll do some of her recipes that are so good. So we use the paper to help you get it open. And then, there we go. sure if there's any cracks or breaks. You just use your hands and fill them in. Use the extra dough on the side. And it's stuck to this paper pretty good, so it's gonna take some work to get it off. I'll probably speed it up while I work on this. And then I'm gonna pop it in the refrigerator and let it stay there until I'm ready to pour the filling in and put it in the oven. And while it's speeding up, I'm gonna go ahead and get all my ingredients ready and prepared for the filling. Okay, I think that we're ready. I have everything together for the filling. So we're going to start with a big bowl so that it won't splatter all over the place, and a mixer. Now if you have a stand mixer, and I have one, but I think I let my daughter borrow it, but because I don't have it here. But if you have one, that will work great. Or if you don't have a hand mixer, you could even use a food processor. So any of those things will work. So really all we're going to do is we're going to pour all of these things in the bowl, blend it until it's very well blended, and then it'll be ready to go in the oven. I preheated the oven while the dough was in the refrigerator to 350. First we have full fat coconut milk. You saw that I got it out of a can. That's the best one to get, in my opinion. It's just full fat coconut milk, and we did about half a cup. And you'll see me duck down. I get on eye level. I learned that in home ec when I was in high school, to get on eye level with the measuring cup. So it's a habit I've had for a very long time. So that's what I do. Unless you have this kind of measuring cup, which shows you the lines from this angle. So I don't have to do that with this guy. So there was the coconut milk, and this is maple syrup. It's a third of a cup. I'm gonna add that in. And this is pumpkin puree, and you want 2.5 cups of it. Not pumpkin pie that you can get pumpkin pie mix that's already in a can that's already got all the seasonings in it. You don't want to get that. You just want to get plain pumpkin puree. Alright, and then we're going to have, this is a half a cup of coconut sugar. Again, no refined sugars here. And this is arrowroot. It's kind of like a starch. Instead of using a cornstarch, you use the arrowroot. So I have I think it's a 1/4 a cup. Yes, a 1/4 a cup of this. Alright, and I have 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, which is delicious. It's going to give it all of that yummy flavor. Along with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, more yummy flavor, and 1 teaspoon of ginger. So it's going to be full of flavor. You can tell already, all the spices. Then I have a teaspoon of vanilla. One of my favorite things, when my grandmother lived in Tennessee, and she would make us, when it would snow there, because I'm from Mississippi, we didn't get much snow where I was from in Mississippi. So when we go and it would snow at Christmas, she would always scoop us up some snow and mix some vanilla flavoring in it, a little milk, and that would be our snow ice cream. So good. And here is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now all we need to do is blend it together and then be ready for our pie pan. here we are, ready to add our filling. Here we go. It's gonna be so good. I started off with it on low so that the dry ingredients wouldn't go everywhere. So then I increased it to a high speed to get it really good and mixed together. Now this has to bake for 45 minutes to 50 minutes. Sometimes it takes longer than that. It just depends on your oven. So you put a toothpick in the center and see if it comes out clean, and then you'll know if it's ready. But I start checking it at 45 minutes, and then again at 50 and 55, and just depends. Okay. So in the oven, we'll get it out when it's ready. Okay, it's time to check our pie. Oh, it's perfect. See it? Now I need to let it cool off completely for like 2 hours, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then we'll have a taste tomorrow and see how we like it. But I can tell you, it smells just like fall. I love pumpkin. Hi, I'm back, and here we have our pie. It was in the refrigerator overnight, and to tell you the truth, I had to fight my family off because we usually don't wait for it to get cold like it's supposed to. So here we go. One perfect piece of pumpkin pie, gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free. So good. If you enjoy the recipe, please subscribe below. That would help me out a lot. Thank you.